We're going to get started. There was a question on homework assignment.
Number 7.
Well, looking at this one here, number 7, we want to solve for the value of x. Now looking at this here, CB is a mid-segment and x plus 29 would be the third side. So we can say that x plus 29 is equal to 2 times x plus 19. Because the third side is equal to twice the mid-segment. So we can distribute the 2, telling us x plus 29 is equal to 2x plus 38. Now at this point here, we can subtract x from both sides, telling us 29 is equal to x plus 38. Then we can subtract 38 from both sides, telling us x is equal to -9. Now we could plug it back in, and if we did, -9 plus 19 would be 10. -9 plus 29 is 20, so it still holds true. It just asks for the value of x. So even though x is a negative number, when plugged back in, it still shows that the mid-segment is half the length of the third side. Any other questions on the homework? Are you ready for our first part today? Well, all right. So we're going to look at this theorem 6.9610. So we're going to skip that first part and look at the theorem here. So we have two theorems, the long side theorem and the larger angle theorem. So the larger side theorem, if one side of a triangle is larger than another side, then the angle opposite the larger side is going to be bigger than the other angle. So if one side of a triangle is longer than another side, then the angle opposite the larger side is larger than the angle opposite the shorter side. So here, 8 is bigger than 5, so angle C is going to be greater than angle A. Same thing's true with sides. If one angle of a triangle is larger than another angle, then the side opposite the larger angle is longer than the side opposite the smaller angle. So, if we look at this first problem here, you are constructing a stage prop that shows that a large triangular mountain, the bottom edge of the mountain is about 32 feet long. The left slope is about 24 feet, and the right slope is 26. List the angles of the triangle from smallest to largest. So the smallest side's what? So JK, which is opposite what? So which angle is smallest? The biggest side is 32, so the biggest angle is, which means the middle angle is. So from smallest to biggest, angle L, angle J, and then angle K. Biggest angle is opposite the biggest side. The smallest angle is opposite the smallest side. Questions on this here? Let's look at the next one. So we're given this triangle here with side lengths 11, 12, and 13. So the smallest angle would be, because it's opposite side length of 11, smallest side. So the next biggest side is 12, and its opposite angle B. And lastly, Angle C is the biggest because it's opposite side length 13, which is the biggest. Questions on this here? Okay, so let's list the angles for this here from smallest to largest. So smallest side is 5.9. So Q is the smallest angle. Angle P would be the middle, and then angle R would be the biggest. Questions on this here? Are you ready for the next one? List the angles from smallest to largest. Angle B would be the smallest. Go smallest side, middle side, biggest side. I think we feel comfortable with these here, yes? Yeah. List the side lengths in order from shortest to longest. So do we know what all three angles are? We can figure it out because the sum of any three angles in a triangle always add up to be 180. So we can add these two angles together. So we get 98. And if we subtract 98 from 180, we get, because that'd be 7, 10, 17 is 8. So 82. So the smallest angle is what? E. So that means the smallest side is DF is the smallest side. The biggest angle is DE is the biggest. And the middle side length is FE or EF. FD is the smallest. FD or DF would be the smallest, DE or ED is the biggest, and EF or FE is the middle. Questions on this here? So, looking at the next one here, we do need to find the measure of angle C, so we can add these two together. So we can say 59 plus 61 is 120. 120 from 180 is indeed 60. So the smallest angle is 59A, so that makes this BC the smallest side. The next bigger angle is C, which is 60, so BA. And the last side is AC. And AC is opposite the biggest angle, so that means it has to be the biggest side. Now this one here was nice. They did give us all three angles. So the biggest angle is what? So the biggest side is RT. Now the smallest angle is 29, which makes ST. RS. So the biggest is RT, smallest is ST, and the middle side is RS. And we're still going from smallest to biggest. And we get this here. Questions on any of this here? We need to see another example of one of these. The last theorem that we have is the triangle sum theorem. And the triangle sum theorem states that the sum of the legs at any two sides of a triangle is always greater than the third. So no matter which two sides we pick, if we add them together, their sum should always be bigger than the third side. And we have three different ways we can add them together. Now we can use this to figure out what the third side of this triangle could be. So we're told that two of the side lengths are 9, and we don't know what the third side is. So we can call it x. Now we said the sum of any two sides is always bigger than the third, yes? So we could say that 14 plus 9 is always going to be greater than the third side x, yes? Because that's true. We could say that 14 plus x is going to be greater than what? 9. And we can also say that 9 plus x is going to be greater than 14. Yeah, so we're solving for it because we want to describe the possible side lengths of the third side. Because there's more than one side length that would work. We want to know the possible range. Now, out of these three statements, one of them makes absolutely no sense. Which one would it be? Because that one's fine, because let's look at it. Here, if we solve for x, I can do that by subtracting 9, yes? That's just telling us that x has to be greater than 5, yes? That makes sense. The first one, 9 plus 14 is? So x has to be smaller than 23, yes? Let's look at the middle one. So here I need to subtract 14 from both sides. That tells us x is greater than -5. Well, yes, that's true, isn't it? Because if it's a side length of a triangle, a length has to be positive, so it has to be greater than it, yes? But is 14 greater than 9? Yeah, 14 is greater than 9, yes? Yeah, 14 is greater than 9. So no matter what the value of x is that we put in here for any length, this one here is always going to be true, yes? So for this here, this one doesn't matter. It's the other two that do. Because if we look at the other two statements, the first one's saying that x has to be less than 23, yes? And our other one says x has to be greater than 5. So what we're saying is that the third side has to be between 5 and 23. So if the third side is between 5 and 23, we have a triangle. Questions on this here? Let's look at the next one. A triangle has one side length of 12 and another of 20. We want to find the possible side lengths of the third side. So we could say that 12 plus x is greater than 20. We can also say that 20 plus x is greater than 12. And we can also say that 20 plus 12 is greater than x. So we have these three statements here, yes? But again, this one here, it worked out. This middle one doesn't mean a whole lot to us because is 20 already greater than 12? Yeah, so this is not going to tell us anything. So the main two we're looking at are these two here. Now for the first one, we're going to solve it for x. So we will minus 12 from both sides. That tells us x is going to be 8. 12, and minus 12 is 8.
So we have to work both sides to find out.
So we need to work that one out so that we get x by itself. Now for this one here, x is already by itself. So 20 plus 12 is. So we know x has to be greater than 8 and less than 32. So our third side, x 8 is less than, x is less than 32. So the side lengths between 8 and 32. Questions on this here? Yep. Because any of these side lengths between 8 and 32 would work. So if the side length was 24, it would work. But that's it. Questions on this here? Well, you can look at one more. So a side length of one triangle is 6, the other side length is 15, and we want to describe the possible values, the range that the third side could be. So we could say 6 plus x is less than, or not less than, greater than 15. We could also say that 15 plus x is greater than 6. And we also have that 15 plus 6 is greater than x. So really, we're just setting up the three cases that we could have. Now, the middle one, because I always end up putting this one in the middle, 15, is it always greater than 6? Yeah, 15 is always greater than 6. So that one doesn't matter, but we need to solve and simplify the other two. So here, to get x by itself, we need 2. Subtract 6, so that tells us x has to be greater than 9. For this other one here, we're saying x is less than 21. I just flipped it. Because this is also the same as saying 21 is greater than x.
So do we have them?
No.
Oh, okay, I see.
So 9 is less than x is less than 21. Any questions on this here? We ready for the next one? Okay. Determine whether it's possible to construct the given side lengths. Now with this, again, the sum of any two sides has to be greater than the third. So we have all three sides. So here we're saying that 4 plus 9 has to be greater than 10, yes? Well, 4 plus 9 is what? Is 13 greater than 10? Okay. So we could also say what? 4 plus 10 is greater than 9, yes? Well, 10 is already greater than 9. This is going to work because that's going to say 14 is greater than 9. Yes? Or the third way we can say it is that plus 10 is greater than, or that 19 is greater than. So no matter how we set this up, it is a triangle. Which one did we need to do? Which two made sense both times or didn't make a big difference? Why did we not really need to do this case? 10's already bigger than 9. How about here? Well, 10 and 9 are both bigger than. So we're really looking at the smaller two sides. Do they add together to be bigger than the? Well, then it should, all we have to do, the other two should follow. Because if we look at the middle one, so we're looking at the two smaller sides, 8 plus 9, to see if it's greater than 18. 8 plus 9 is? Not a triangle. it would look something like, yep. So let's look at number 7, 5, 7, and 12.
So,
So this is
the equal sign?
not a, because if it's equal to that other side, the one that I drew beginning, it's going to come back right there. It's just long enough that this side length would be somewhere kind of along this path. It would actually just make two sides. Questions on this here? And that's it.